Math with Lubelski. Be real honest with you. It's Sunday morning. I'm tired. But I'm still going to make a video for you. I'm telling you right now, this is a rough video. It's about as rough as my hair looks like right now. There are dogs fighting. There is a dog mom telling her dogs to stop fighting in the middle of math problems. So, yeah, I'd watch. Have a good time. It's going to be great. You can learn how to dilate stuff. Make sure you return to your packet dilated coordinates T1S1.
Okay, welcome back to YouTube with Lubelski. We are going to be doing dilated coordinates, and this is the type 1 sheet 1. So in your packet, or if you've been given the worksheet, it should match the star. So make sure you are on the same page as I am. Let's take a look at this first question and read the directions. It says find the dilated coordinates. So we're going to dilate them given the scale factor. Now this is the different type of worksheet than the previous dilated coordinates, because the dilated coordinates before we had a graph of it. There are going to be instances where you actually are just given the 4 coordinates if it's a quadrilateral. Maybe it's 10 coordinates because it's some unique shape, but you may just be given the coordinates, and this is where that algebraic rule comes into play. Our algebraic rule in this case is going to be our x and our y original point is going to become 2 times x and 2 times y, because they give us that scale factor of 2, and scale factor means we're going to multiply. So if you have a calculator, feel free to use it. I'm going to have to go old school here because I didn't bring my calculator home with me. So I'm going to start by doing my I'm just going to write my new coordinates right here on each line. And I'm going to say what I am doing as I do it, because it's hard to demonstrate that on the iPad. But we're going to start with P. 2 times -5 is -10. So because there's only one negative in that multiplication problem, the negative stays. So be sure you keep those negatives if you're using a calculator. 2 times -6 is -12. 2 times -1 is -2. 2 times 2 is 4. On to R prime. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 4 again is 8. And then we have S prime, which 1 times 2 is 2. And -3 times 2 is -6. So that's all there really is to it. The only time that we're really coming into some complicated problems is if you're looking over at the next one. We have an improper fraction. But again, you are allowed to use a calculator, so you can always do that. I'm going to show you how to do it without a calculator. So if you do encounter it on maybe a district test or a test where your teacher doesn't give you a calculator, you'll be able to do it regardless. So we'll kind of do a little retouch on multiplication of fractions. So all of my coordinates A, B, and C are whole numbers, and my scale factor is a fraction, and this messed up in formatting a little bit, so it is 3/2 or 3/2. So I'm going to actually make all of my coordinates fractions by putting them over the number 1, because if you divide by 1, it stays the same. If I take the number 2 and I divide it up into one equal group would just be 2. So I'm going to do that for all of these. So for A, I'm going to do 2/1 times 3/2, and I'm going to simplify before I multiply. So the diagonal, these two will simplify to 1. Because 2 divided by 2 is 1. And I can't do the other one, so it's going to be 3/1. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. So that is 3/1 simplifies to just 3. So my first coordinate is 3 for my letter A prime. All right, the next one is 6. We're going to put 6/1 times my scale factor of 3/2. Again, I'm going to simplify before I multiply to save me some work at the end. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And now we multiply straight across. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. So I get 9 is my final answer. So I'm actually going to do these in my head. I'm going to say them out loud, but I could actually multiply and simplify in my head just to keep the video moving. You could be using a calculator right now, so I'm going to show you for letter B in the calculator. You don't have to turn 8 into a fraction in your calculator. You can just type 8 times, and then I do like to use parentheses for my fractions just to keep them neat. So I'm going to do times 3. We're going to use an ABC button. That's the A. B over C button will make a fraction for you. So this little half square right there is the fraction separator. It's like the division bar in a fraction that separates the numerator from the denominator. So 3 over 2, and if I hit enter, it's going to automatically come up with 12. And I know that because in my head I did 8 times 3 is 24, 24 divided by 2 is 12. So if you're a quick person with fractions, you don't have to use the calculator, but I know that most kids are still practicing with that stuff. It's taken me 29 years to get to this point where I can do stuff like that in my head. And B, again, our Y is 4, so we're going to do 4 times in your calculator again, 3, fraction key 2, enter. Now, keep in mind that with those arrow keys on your TI-30X, you can actually go back up to problems that you've already typed in to save yourself some time. Make the cursor hover over the number 8, and you can just change it to 4 and hit enter. And then you don't have to keep typing out the same fraction over and over again, and it actually will work for letter C as well. So these quick tricks on the calculator will help you just to get through the problems faster. The key focus that we're working on is that you know that you're multiplying by the scale factor no matter whether it's a fraction, decimal, or anything else. So let's do 4 times 3 is 12 divided by 2 is 6. And our last C prime, 6 times 3 is 18 divided by 2 is 9. 10 times 3 is 30 divided by 2 is 15. All right, number 3. So scale factor is 1/5. So if it's a fraction less than 1, just to focus on that reduction or enlargement dilation. If it's less than 1, I know that all my numbers are going to be smaller because I'm reducing the size. So let's go ahead and do this. So we've got letter D. I'm going to multiply -7 times 1 over 5. So I'm going to turn that into a fraction. I get -7, fifths. Okay, so -7/5. That might mean that you would have to estimate it on a graph if you had to plot the points, but you could also turn that into a mixed number, which is 1 and 2 fifths. I am literally having a battle royale in my living room right now of my dogs. There are 3 of them, if you have not heard a video where I'm trying to tape and they decide to have a bat. They're not killing each other, I promise. You two need to stop. This is what dog mom is like. Goodness gracious. All right, 0 times any scale factor is just going to remain 0. It just means that you're still at that. You're still on an axis of some kind. So there we go for that one. E is going to be the exact same thing as D because it's -7 again. So it's going to be -7/5 again. And -5 is going to be -5 over 1 times 1 over 5. Those 5s are going to simplify to 1. And I end up with -1. And then my last one, -2. So if I do -2 times 1/5 in a calculator, I'll get -2 fifths. And then -5, we already did. -5 would become -1 because I already did it over here. I just got sat on by a husky. Okay. Doing math and babysitting these two are ridiculous. that was a mess of a video to start with. Sorry about that. Well, moving on to number 4. Let's be real. Oh my goodness. Stop. No, we're doing math. Lay down. We are doing math. No, we're doing math. Stop. All right. Number 4. With a scale factor of 8, our coordinates are about to get very, very large because we're going to multiply by 8. So let's go. This one's going to go a little faster because we're going to do our basic multiplication facts with the number 8. So -1 times 8 is -8. I'm just going left to right through all the coordinates. 1 times 8 is 8. -3 times 8 is -24. 8 times -1 is -8. 1 times 8 is 8. 8 times -2 is -16. And then our last one, 4 times 8 is 32. 2 times 8 is 16. Now I am going to write down the final answers, but I'm not going to walk you through them. Woo! So you've got 5, 6, 7, and 8 left. I'm going to write down the final answers so that you can see them, and you can pause the video right here, try them on your own, and then you'll get to see the final answers in the very last clip of the video. Good luck. You'll do fantastic. Just a little hint, the 1.5 and the 0.9, those are not going to make any difference. Use the calculator you've been given because at this point it's not about whether you can multiply by decimals. It's about whether or not you can use your tools that you're given, like a calculator, to find the new dilated point that you need to dilate the entire image. Okay, and there you have it. Questions 5, 6, 7, and 8. Those are the final answers, so go through and pause it if you need to, but check your answers with mine to make sure you finished off the page correctly. If you have any questions, make sure that if I'm your teacher, you ask. If I'm not your teacher, make sure you show your teacher the worksheet and ask them any specific questions you may have.
Yay, you finished. I'm so proud of you. Keep practicing those skills. Do some more practice problems. Ask me some questions. Ask somebody else some questions. Ask anybody who can help you ask questions. Keep honing in those skills. Keep doing you. Keep being awesome. That's about as motivational as I can get when I'm this tired.